Hey guys, it's KJ from the scariest movie ever. And as they play God in this world is beginning to look a lot more like the devil. And how are they playing God? It's not hard to see. We've been seeing examples for many years now. It's almost as if elements of this beast system we're currently residing within refuse to acknowledge our Heavenly Father. So they're finding their own way. And I'm going to show you some examples of this. Babies made using 3 people's DNA are born free of hereditary disease. CRISPR used to remove extra chromosomes in Down syndrome people and to restore cell function. Playing God. As humanity faces a catastrophic fertility crisis, scientists are creating synthetic human DNA from scratch. Scientists sound alarm over lab-made human DNA as, quote, godlike project moves forward. Playing God. Scientists have created a human entity that has no mother or father. U.S. scientists are playing God by creating bizarre human-animal chimeras during extremely strange experiments. Scientists playing God are building human DNA from the ground up. 2 male mice have a fertile baby. Will same-sex couples be next? CEO says new tool allows couples to genetically optimize their children. So I wanted to show you some of the examples, but there are so many more, and you can look it up if you like. And these are subjects I cover from time to time, and others do too as well. But we know that living here in the end of the world, living here on the doorstep of tribulation, we're seeing all kinds of madness right now in the world, of course. So we're seeing the scientists going crazy, right? Really playing God. Many years ago, the philosopher Confucius told us that the world is ruled by signs and symbols, not rules nor laws. And I followed that line of reasoning for many, many years in what I've done, and you can find the symbols everywhere. And these are symbols of the beast system. Now, these are fingerprints of the devil that we find in all forms of media, and elsewhere on buildings as well, which actually brings me to this story right here. Many people have noticed recently, just over the last few weeks, underneath the World Trade Center, the One World Trade Center in New York City, they're spotting these all-seeing eyes. So they're finding all-seeing eyes in the subway being posted underneath the One World Trade Center, which is interesting. Once again, we find one of the core symbols of this beast system, the all-seeing eye, connected here. And of course this goes back to the Masons, you know, the pyramid and the all-seeing eye, and it's just a symbol of the beast system in general, one of the main symbols we see. But it's interesting because we've seen this before. If you remember, after the destruction of the Twin Towers in New York City many years ago, on the site of destruction, right, the same area, they had this massive ritual right here. And as you can see, as you watch, you see all of the people forming an all-seeing eye. Now, again, this is after the destruction, right? This is in the ruins of the Twin Towers. We have that beast system symbol, once again, the all-seeing eye, because this was a massive ritual for Apollyon, right? The beast of the pit. So interesting, once again, we find the all-seeing eye here and connected to the new One World Trade Center. Speaking of Satan's fingerprints here in this beast system, we find the Labubu dolls. A lot of people have been talking about the Labubu dolls over the last few months. It's become a real thing, and many of them are associating it with the ancient demon Pazuzu. It is interesting, though, the attacks on the little ones in this system. Like the demons just really want to get their hands on these little ones and get involved in their lives. That's what I see when I see stories like this about evil little toys. I mean, this toy doesn't seem like something that Jesus would have sent the children. I'm just saying. It does look kind of like a little demon, and it fits. You know, it makes sense. Being in this beast system, we would have toys like this for children, but it's not just the toys. It reminded me, there's actually a couple movies out right now that kind of remind me of this idea of fitting some kind of a demonic entity with a small child. Just over the last few months, they released the live-action version of a movie called Lilo and Stitch. And as you can see, Stitch is supposed to be some kind of a little alien-type creature that hangs out with this little girl. But in the movie and in the animation, Stitch does nothing but cause chaos at all times. And once again, this doesn't seem like something heavenly sent, for a child, to look after a child and help them. No, once again, I see this low key as attaching a demonic entity to a little one. What you're looking at here is from a series called Orion and the Dark. And as you can see, they don't even try to hide it. Here's a child hanging out with a dark, what appears to be evil entity, right? Once again, this doesn't appear to be something heaven sent. It's not a holy angel looking out for a child. This is something that appears to be dark and evil. Also, over the last few months, we had this movie come out, How to Train Your Dragon, which is also another live-action remake of a very popular children's animated series. But once again, we have a young person connecting with a dragon, and dragons are from the Bible. We know this, and they're typically associated with the beast, with something evil. It's not something we're supposed to be friends with, right? And it's not something that typically is going to be looking out for you and trying to help you out. So once again, we see this, how this is happening. It's really smoke and mirrors, and it's kind of a grayish area, and it's easy to convince people through movies and TV shows, hey, these are your friends. They're going to look out for you. They're going to help you out. But in reality, we know, and again, from the Bible, these things are associated with the beast. These are not good beings. They're not friends to humans. And one of the biggest examples I can show you is from a television series called Big Mouth, which even the advertising you can see here is kind of gross. But it's all about young people, elementary school type children, hanging out with demons. And if you don't believe me, you can go check this out yourself. But these demons are helping them, through their early teenage years, primarily with their sexuality. So the whole series is about these young children in school that are hanging out with demonic entities that are helping guide them through these early years of their sexuality. And if there was still any doubt, you can take a look at this right here, a mockery, of course, a mockery of the Last Supper. But here you can see all the children with their demons. How appropriate, right? So once again, this is all just a part of this system, and I bring this back to the Labubu dolls. It's really the same concept. It's attaching a demonic entity to a little one, to a child, to innocent. It's mixing the profane with the innocent. If you go online and look this up, you'll find plenty of examples. There's stories out there, mainstream stories, that are asking why are so many children reporting that they're talking to ghosts. Right? Not just imaginary friends, but ghosts. And this is a real thing. And I'm not surprised by the increase in this during these days. I've got some examples, which is pretty wild to think about. If you follow me, you understand that I believe in the serpent seed amongst us from the Bible. That there are things around us that look like us, act like us, talk like us, but it's not quite us. It's a wheat and tares kind of a situation. But there's something even a little crazier than that. So, we understand, again, that there's beings amongst us that look like us that may not exactly be like us. But there's something else in the spiritual that's happening, because there is real spiritual warfare, major, happening right now in these crazy days. But oftentimes we find that these spirits will actually manifest before your eyes, before some people's eyes, to where only they can see the spirit, nobody else. And this is another thing that through the years I find more and more examples of. And I want to show you some examples, specifically where these things are dealing with children. Again, this is happening a lot. The first clip I want to show you is just an example of a grown man dealing with one of these situations where there's clearly he's talking to somebody, but nobody else can see them. And then right after that, I'm going to show you an example that happened with 3 children over the last few years. 3 little girls in their bedroom were clearly talking to something that was manifesting in a wall inside of their bedroom. And check this out. One of the reasons I wanted to show you these examples of these spirits manifesting before people and nobody else seeing them is I've got a really great video here for you to check out. This is an experience that this gentleman had with what I'm believing is most likely a succubus. Right? There's incubus, there's succubus, there's sexual demons out there, as you may know. And I believe there's a darn good chance that this gentleman right here actually experienced one of these things. So check this out.
So she walked into this little bar I was in, and she walked in, real smooth, like she was like a part of the band or something. Not too flashy, but just like present. Like when she walked into the room, the whole room just like stopped. Like you could just kind of feel a slight, silence, undertone, like people knew she was there. So she kind of walked up to me and she ordered me a drink, before I even introduced myself. And she said, I like your energy, so I'm like, okay. She told me my face looked like it told stories. So I kind of laughed it off, I'm like, okay, whatever that means. So then she reached and touched my birthmark and she whispered, I like the broken parts. I mean, I don't know what that means. Like, I'm glad I got a free drink and she looked good. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So we talking for like an hour, y'all. Like nothing deep, just like, little flirting, low tones, kind of vibes, kind of conversation that make you forget where you parked at. So then I got up to go order a second drink. So the bartender slid me a glass, but he slid me like a little napkin with the glass, but it was like kind of folded up. He ain't say nothing. He just kind of like nodded at me. I'm like, okay. So I unfolded it and I read it and it said, don't leave with her. You're not the first. I'm like, what? Not the first? I'm too faded for this. First of all, so I don't even know what you're talking about right now. So I'm like, okay, I guess. So I turned back and the bartender was gone. Like not in the back, not serving anymore. Like he was just gone. So I turned around to the table and she was gone too. And the drink was there though. And it's still like, dripping, like sweating on the table. So this lady comes from the back, whatever. She asked me, was like, okay. And I'm like, I'm looking for my friend. And she was like, your friend. And we kind of going back and forth. And she was kind of looking at me like, she don't know what I'm talking about. So she was like, come look at this. She showed me the security camera. And I was sitting there by myself all night. So if anybody knows me, they knows I'm not. Look, y'all. I don't know what's going on. I still got the little note. Well, I had the note after the fact. I'm like, well, where did this note come from? So I don't know if they was in cahoots together. So I'm sitting there, boom. I'm still holding this note saying, don't leave with her. My hand is like, I don't know. It was like it was hot in my hand or something like that. I don't know. So I look up and they both gone. So the girl I was just vibing with disappeared. The bartender that slid me the note disappeared. Gone like he never existed. Now, this woman, she comes from behind the bar. She got like this kind of cautious look on her face, like she's seen this before or something like that. So she don't really say that much. She just like, you okay? And I'm like, where'd he go? And she's looking again strange. I'm like, the bartender, they gave me this. So she glances at the note in my hand and her face like tightens. Like, and it's like it's like a younger white girl. Her face just like get real serious. She said real low, she was like, come with me. So she walking me through this hallway behind the bar, like past some like dry storage or whatever, into this little like dusty office area, whatever. The lights was kind of like flickering to look like a little bit. And it was like an old liquor poster on the wall. So it's like this small little Dell computer from like 2002 when they first started making like computers. And the screen is like grainy, whatever. And she shows me the footage from like 5 minutes ago. It's literally me just sitting right there, talking, laughing. And I even reached for someone that wasn't even there. So I lean back. I'm like, look, man, are y'all playing with me? Like, is this like some type of sick joke? Like, what's going on for real? Like, what is this? And she shake her head and she look at me dead serious. Like, look, I'm not trying to freak you out, but this not the first time. I'm like, what? This not the first time. The first time what? What are you talking about? She pulls out her phone, opens up her photos. She scrolls down a bit and shows me like this little screenshot, whatever. And it was a little blurry a little bit, but it was the same bar at a different date, but another dude. He was sitting like around the same seat I was in, but with this kind of zoned out expression in his face. She said this same time last year, same night, someone said that they saw a woman too, but they didn't see anybody. He has the same story as you. Y'all, so I'm quiet at this point. Like, I'm not saying nothing. But then she kind of leans in and she started looking in my face. And she like, you always had that mark? And I'm like, what mark? Like, what are you talking about? She was like, your birthmark. So, because I forget I got it sometime. It's whatever. I forget I got tattoos, everything. So she nods real slow and she was like, my grandma, she used to call that the trace. She said only certain people are born with it. She said it means you got like some type of unsettled history or something like that, or somebody's still looking for you. So I laugh a little bit, but it's like, it's not funny. Like, I'm just trying to like break the awkwardness. I'm like, okay, So then she said something that gave me the chills. Y'all, she was like, she don't just pick anybody, that woman. She only shows up for people with that same mark. That guy had the same birthmark in the same spot. That's the correlation. Y'all. At this point, I'm way too faded still for all this. I'm like, yo, what is going on? She look at me. I'm looking back at her. So I'm like, what are you saying? Is this something spiritual? What is this? What is this? So she just shrugged and she's like, I don't know, but I know you're not the first one that sat with her. And if history repeats itself, then she paused. She didn't finish her sentence. Y'all, when I swear I'm looking at the screen, it froze for a second, and I see the girl, and then the screen just shut off. Y'all, I don't know what it was. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know if she saw it. She tried to make it seem like she didn't know what I was talking about, but I'm like, we both looking at the screen right now. Like, she looked like she saw it, but she didn't want to actually confirm it to not weird herself out.
And right here's a good example of what I'm talking about when I say that, spiritual, supernatural things are increasing, intensifying in these end days. We even see this right here coming from the Pentagon. Pentagon's Ghostbusters. The Pentagon, the government, is spending millions of dollars on probing, quote, supernatural entities. Secret government paranormal programs spanned decades, report finds. Another really interesting anomaly we're finding in these end times and these end days goes back to the black goo. And I've been talking about the black goo for a good 10 years. It's a relatively new form that they found in the early 2000s. And now, of course, we find it connected with graphene oxide, and you know where graphene oxide goes. Because if you take a look right here, you can see a syringe right here filled with human beings, right? And this is from Severance, the TV series. This is the opening sequence. So you've got human beings inside the syringe, and then, of course, you can see them all melding into the black goo, or the black goo taking over humanity. And we see this time and time again these days in movies, TV shows, music videos, is black goo consuming humanity. So I wanted to show you this to prepare you for this next news story I just found over the last few weeks. Very interesting, and it seems to be talking about a black goo type situation. But before I get to the article, I want to show you this short clip right here, just as a reminder of how often we're seeing this black goo in our modern entertainment.
Why are all these celebrities using this black goo? So Megan Fox just dropped this picture, and we'll talk about the other celebrities in a second, but check this out. She made an announcement with this picture, and it was for her pregnancy. And this sent social media into a frenzy, because wouldn't you want the imagery to resemble the exact opposite? Now this got me thinking. I've seen this a lot recently. So on Lady Gaga's last music video, we see this black goo with a dark version of herself, throws it up onto her, and she indulges in it. Many think that this was her symbolizing that she is embracing her inner demons. Then on Justin Timberlake's last music video, he had something very similar. A literal demon is throwing up the same black goo onto him, symbolizing some type of dark possession, while it's all over his face, and demons in the music video continue to surround him. And someone who uses this often is Billie Eilish. One song, she drinks it and it oozes out of her eyes. On another song, I think she is representing Lucifer, and she is covered in it while she spreads her dark wings. So we can see clearly that this imagery represents some type of inner struggle, some type of possession, or any type of darkness. But why would Megan Fox use this in her pregnancy announcement?
So we have a mysterious life form discovered in Cleveland, Ohio, and this is a recent story. A ship that docked in Cleveland last summer harbored what scientists believe was a previously unknown form of life. The revelation occurred after the research vessel Blue Heron, which is monitoring harmful algal blooms in Lake Erie, began having mechanical issues. The captain piloted the boat to Cleveland, where it could be examined in a dry dock. After the Blue Heron was lifted out of the water and lowered onto a parking lot, the problem was diagnosed. The propeller shaft bearings needed replacing. But as one mystery was resolved, another more enigmatic one emerged. Lee noticed a tar-like substance, black goo, oozing from the rudder post, a normally hidden component of the ship's steering apparatus that was exposed during maintenance. He had never seen anything like it during previous dry dock inspections of the ship, a former fishing boat acquired by the University of Minnesota Duluth to conduct research. Curious, he took a glop of the goo and plopped it in the water to see if it left a sheen. It didn't. Then he turned a blowtorch on the slimy substance to see if it would burn. It didn't do that either. Baffled, he had experts at the University of Minnesota Duluth investigate. Says, hey, we work for a science lab, he said. We have people who do things. There's a picture of the goo. It even says a mysterious black goo was discovered on the rudder post of the research vessel. It's when Doug Ricketts, Marine Superintendent for the Blue Heron, came into the picture. During one of his trips to Cleveland to check on the progress of repairs, he put a half cup of the goo into a sample bag and carted it back to Duluth. Once there, he handed it over to Cody Sheik, an associate professor at the university and an expert in microbial ecology. Sheik's interest was immediately piqued. The goo looked like something his former graduate school associates at University of Oklahoma had plucked from oil reservoirs to examine for organisms. As for the substance found on the Blue Heron, he thought maybe there might be something in there hanging out. To learn more, he used chemicals to crack open the cells of the goo and expose their microscopic inner workings. In doing so, he discovered about 20 DNA sequences or genomes and ran them through a worldwide computer database. Most of the sequences matched known genomes found elsewhere in the world, he said, but a few were less identifiable, including one that was completely novel. It's now known, at least temporarily, as ShipGoo 001. ShipGoo 001 is believed to be a single-cell organism, but its appearance is not yet evident. It could be thread-like, spherical, or even twisty. In a broader context, the discovery of the goo demonstrates how life can exist in unique places, including the built environments of a building or ship, and that we probably should be a little more open to sampling random stuff at times, he says. So, they still don't know exactly what it is, right? There's some strange components to this. And it's interesting, these guys are discovering this for the first time, but for years we've been seeing this in movies and television shows over and over. The black goo, the rise of the black goo, and how it consumes humanity, right? And of course we understand what's happening right now with the poison that was offered to billions of people, and they took it. And there are components of this in there as well. It's what's called graphene. But there's the black goo story right there. So perfect for the times we're in. You know, living in these days, at the end of the doorstep of tribulation, and we're seeing the rise of the black goo. So, of course, we can't really discuss the end of the world without discussing Saturn symbolism. Saturn is Satan. Saturn is one of those symbols for Satan in this system, and he goes by many names, many faces, right? But it's always him. It always goes back to him. But as you can see right here, this is from the World Cup. You see Donald Trump is out there. And then, of course, you see right here. You see the Saturn symbolism, major Saturn symbolism. This is the golden age of Saturn we're looking at, which is not going to be a golden age for the people. It's going to be a golden age for Satan. This is his final harvest. 7 years of tribulation coming up. Satan's golden age is upon us, but I thought it was interesting. We find this major Saturn symbolism in a place where millions of eyes are going to be upon it. Millions of people are going to be seeing this, but of course, the majority of them will not see it for what it is, as far as the occult is concerned. We also have another sign of the end times here. They're calling this the year of the flood. A dozen 1,000-year floods in 3 days were quickly followed by historic flooding in New York and New Jersey. This is from July 15th, and it's still going on, and it's happening around the world. I mean, serious flooding, as most of you know, and I see this as a sign of the times. But as we know in this beast system, they're blaming it on the climate and how crazy the climate's been getting, right? While they're, in many cases, actually engineering climate. And you add to that the supernatural element of being in the end times, and here we go. There's parts of the world that are on fire, right? Which is the way the world will end eventually. And then there's parts of the world that are flooding, which is the way the world ended, in quotes, ended the first time around. And lastly here, I wanted to also share a few things here with you concerning crop circles. I did a video, my last video, I showed you a recent crop circle, which was a clown, right? The trickster. And some people were worried that, oh, maybe some human made this or whatever. Well, see, I don't even take all that into consideration with some of these things. Whether it was the entities that did it or it was a human being, the message remains the same. Entities work through people. There's people, millions of people in this world, maybe billions, who don't have the Holy Spirit, right? They're essentially vessels walking around in this world that can be overtaken and that can be used, by spirits to do things. So this is how I see a lot of these. Same thing with them putting symbols in movies. Some of these movies are filled with symbols. And in some cases, I do believe it is people who are involved in the occult, in the lodge, if you will. But in other cases, it's spirits working through people. But all that being said, this was a new crop circle from Dorset, United Kingdom, just appeared this past week or so. Yeah, within the last week or so. Very interesting, right? Doesn't look like something good. Seems to be we have the tree of life underneath it. Looks like the tree of life. And then you've got this entity on top, this cone head, almost like an alien, like a gray alien, right? Which are demonic. We know this, but almost like an alien. And it looks like a spider also, right? It's got the spider is on top of the tree of life. And almost tentacles perhaps also. The tentacles. We've seen this before, like a squid, like tentacles, but these are tentacles of the beast. This is the beast system on the tree of life, which is interesting. Almost reminds me of how the goo is overtaking humanity, if you will, from the inside out in many cases. But I thought this was a really interesting one. Definitely creepy, definitely a little crazy, but symbolic of the end times, symbolic of this beast system. And here's another crop circle. This happened on July 12th. This is in Beach Clump, Ludwell, Wiltshire, United Kingdom. So United Kingdom once again. And take a look here in the center. Of course, we got the pentagram. We got the five-pointed star. We have double crescents, the crescent moon. We've seen the crescent moon associated with Islam, but also with the Church of Satan, right? And I've shown you that throughout the years. So here we have another really incredible formation for the 2025 season. And people are saying they've never seen a pentagram involved in any of these crop circles. So once again, to me, just another sign from the stars, right? Or so-called stars, or from humans who are being used by entities. But to put these kind of symbols out, the world's ruled by symbols, not by rules nor laws. So these are symbols of the beast system we find showing up in a crop circle. And we've been seeing these symbols forever, right, in this beast system. So I find that very interesting. I just want to share those latest crop circles with you. So as they're playing God, our world is looking more like the devil. this pretty much concludes what I wanted to share with you guys in this video. As always, I have to thank you for actually watching the video. And the most important thing I can talk to you about and tell you about is Jesus Christ. The most important information ever in this whole beast system, and it's your way out. It's your way back home, your way to heaven. Please, my friend, if you haven't accepted that free gift of salvation, do so now. Do so quickly. I'm watching how quickly all of this is speeding up. Everything's speeding up, even time. People are feeling it. And it's all going to conclude with this tribulation and with this final golden age of Satan that's upon us, which will be horrible for all human beings. So Jesus protects you from that, helps you to escape that. So please, please, please choose Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior. The most important decision you will ever make in your life. All right? So please do. And please do take it seriously. So on that note, guys, once again, just thank you so much. I truly hope you're all doing well out there. So just take care of yourselves, okay? Hang in there. Stay close to Jesus, all right? And I'll see you in the next video, if we're still here.